We're back on the early wedge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. I'm joined by Patrick McDonald and Jason Sobel, and we got to talk Tour Championship. It's our very quick look at Eastlake. Patrick, we don't have staggered scoring this year, so I think that makes things very interesting just from an odds standpoint and an ultimate winner standpoint. But when it comes to Eastlake, what's the type of golfer you're looking for? Again, we're down to the top 30.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see how they set up the golf course. Like, do they want to make it really difficult on these guys and kind of make it fun for the viewers? Do they want to do something different now that there are no staggered strokes, like you mentioned? See, I mean, last year the scoring average was almost 2.5 strokes under par, which is pretty easy. They had the Andrew Green restoration as well, my fellow Virginia Tech Hokie. But you look at the top of the leaderboard last year, you had Scheffler, who was number 1 off the tee. Morikawa was number 2. Thigala was number 4. So the Bermuda rough out there at Eastlake, it's one of the main defenses, I would say. Got to play from the fairway. So I don't think it's all too dissimilar from TPC Southwind a couple weeks ago, honestly.
Jason, you agree with that? And how do you think the setup's going to be?
I think they'll set it up sort of easier than harder, trying to get a lot of birdies out there and trying to, really ramp up the drama. And, you're going to do that by making birdies and eagles available. I'm just looking at the list right now. I'm trying to think of the worst possible scenario for the PGA Tour, because what they've done.
Jacob Bridgman.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
How dare you? I'm going Jacob Bridgman.
Down near the bottom of the list. If Jacob Bridgman 7 days from now is holding up a FedEx Cup trophy and winning $10 million, there are people in PGA Tour headquarters in Ponte Vedra Beach who are like, oh my God, what did we do? Why did we change the staggered scoring? The staggered scoring was implemented 6 years ago to essentially give them an out so that if somebody played better than Scheffler, Rory, Xander, Victor, whoever it might have been, like those guys still have a great advantage, and those guys are probably one of them is going to win the FedEx Cup. And so it's like, hey, look, here's our winner. It's a popular superstar that everybody likes. And we wrap up the season with a nice story. They are absolutely going to get hammered on all angles. If it's a Jacob Bridgman, I know Nick Taylor won, but it was 7 months ago. I don't know. Like, pick out one of these guys who hasn't won all year. I mean, I remember a scenario back in the day where Paul Casey had not won a golf tournament all year and went into the final event top 5 and legit could have finished second or third at the Tour Championship and won the whole FedEx Cup without ever winning a tournament. That would be fantastic, and we have something sort of close to it next week.
Patrick, there are, mostly big names. There are the Jacob Bridgmans. Andrew Novak is going to be there in the top. Nick Taylor, we mentioned, who, has some appeal there. And we'll see how the top 30 ends out there. But it does feel like it's going to probably be a bigger name that's going to lift the trophy. What type of big name are you looking for in terms of their golf game in particular? Are we looking for, I hate to do the cop-out thing, but are we looking for ball strikers?
Okay, let's look back last year. The top 4 on the leaderboard were 1 through 4 from tee to green. And the top 8, it was 7 out of the top 8 were in the top 8 from tee to green. The only outlier was Adam Scott, who led the field in terms of putting. So, yeah, pretty simple stuff, I would say. And so naturally, we do have the odds out. They've been out for a little bit now. I'm rolling with Russell Henley at 25-1. How could you not? 25-1 in a 30-man field? Just disrespectful. All this talk about captain's picks for the Ryder Cup. I would argue the biggest question for Keegan Bradley is he going to pair the 2 best players in the world together in Scottie Scheffler and Russell Henley at Bethpage Live?
Jason, listen, I'm not a Henley guy, but I have to admit 25-1 doesn't sound terrible in a 30-person field, but there are those guys ahead of him that are more likely to win. Is there anybody that you have your eyes on, or a type of golfer you have your eyes on?
Yeah, I'll admit the same thing. I'm not a big Henley guy, and yet the number does sound pretty good. I look at this very much the way I look at first-round leader plays and like DFS showdown, which is who can get really hot. Like who can just get, it might be volatile. You might be, looking at a guy that's dead man walking going into the weekend. But I look at a player like Sam Burns, who's playing well right now, We know that he can make more putts. And I get it. Tee to green is going to be the biggest determining factor of success next week. But give me a guy who's pretty good tee to green and then rolls in a whole lot of putts. As far as little as I like Sam Burns, we talked about him earlier, and I'm just in the top 5 market or the without market. I'm probably not looking his way today. For next week, I kind of like that idea of going with Sam Burns, like another guy who hasn't won this year and could win the whole FedEx Cup.
Man,
I mean, you guys
Corey
keep
Connors. What about him?
No.
I'm looking at. I already have my card in my mind. It's going to be Henley at 25.
Okay.
Harrison is 50 to 1. Lock that in.
I love that, by the way.
And then Brian Harmon is 65 to 1.
I do like Harmon. Harmon's a guy that I had. I wrote up the FedEx Cup preview before the FedEx St. Jude last week, and I had Harmon on there as well. Maybe we just give it to Sanjay. I don't know. Sanjay just had
Corey
the
Connors
worst season of anyone to ever get into the Tour Championship and just goes out and wins it.
I don't remember one shot from Sanjay's season or Corey Connors' season.
That's right.
No.
That would be, to me, almost as big of a disaster as Jacob Bridgman. Sanjay's been terrible the entire year.
At least
with the exception of one or two major tournaments.
Turn that into a story. You're sitting there in the press room on Sunday afternoon. You're like, all right, I can work with Sanjay. He's been so bad, but you get in, you get a chip in a chair. The Bridgman story, take nothing away from him. He's been a good player throughout the entire year. Obviously, to get in or be on the inside looking out as of right now with 18 holes played. That said, there's just not much of a story there. I mean, if you're the PGA Tour, you want a FedEx Cup champion it's leading Sports Center that night, and all the local newscasts are talking about it. The internet is a buzz, and none of those things would happen.
How dare you? I've won more money on Jacob Bridgman than any other golfer in 2025.
You are not the mainstream media. You are not the casual
That's
fan.
True.
Yeah.
That is so true. Okay, first of all, I like that you gave out your card. Jason, I need 2 names from you because we got at least 2 names from Patrick that he's considering. I'm not going to hold you to it. Sam Burns is definitely one of my names. I absolutely love that call, so I'm going to steal that from you. That's my guy as well. I'm not going down to Bridgman. I'm trying to think of another guy. I do like the Harris English call. Those are going to be my 2 names for now. I'm just stealing from you guys. Harris English and Sam Burns. Jason, how about 2 names from you that you're like, I like these guys enough. I think they could win it.
I'm not looking at the prices right now yet, but boy, Tommy Fleetwood. You talk about storylines. I'll give you the bad storyline in Bridgman. The best storyline might be Tommy Fleetwood.
Yes.
Been there, tried to get there, and you're looking for a ball striker who's trending in the right direction, who's motivated. It could be Tommy next week. I'm sure the number's too short, and I won't get into it just because I don't trust him on a Sunday, and nobody should. That said, it could be Tommy Fleetwood.
We do have a couple people in the comments. I like both of these. Xavier82 says, do not sleep on JJ Spawn. Jason, I know we want to discard JJ Spawn, but he always just ends up being in the conversation. And Joseph Bose is also mentioning the potential again in Atlanta of bad weather, something we need to monitor for our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday show. Wednesday live chat, we'll have a much better read on the weather there. Any follow-up, Patrick, on JJ Spawn?
Not really. I could see
another disaster victor, correct?
No. I mean, you can build up. I mean, he's a couple playoffs away from being a Players Championship winner and a postseason winner, in addition to the U.S. Open winner. He is 28 to 1, so that's that's higher than or shorter than JT Morikawa, Cam Young, Ben Griffin. We get Sepp Straka back next week, hopefully as well.
What's Cam Young's number, Patrick?
He is at 30 to 1 on DraftKings now. Yeah.
Okay, that's my card.
That's your
Cam
guy?
Young, Sam Burns, Harris English. That's my card, everybody.
Okay.
You guys know it's
most likely
Scheffler next week, right?
Say it
there's
again?
no way it's not Scheffler. We're gonna sit here and discuss this.
So-
And they're gonna clip this. They're gonna do it on social,
me.
and we're gonna not mention Scottie Scheffler's name. It's definitely Scottie Scheffler.
Here's the question. Scottie Scheffler is plus 180 to win the Tour Championship. Pretty much the same price today. Would you rather have him today or next week?
Today. Absolutely.
Okay.
He's going to beat 29 other guys next week. He's only got to beat one other guy today. I don't think Ludwig's going to go and catch. If he passes McIntyre, I don't think he's going to do that with Ludwig passing him. Mm-hmm. So I think it's I'll take my chances being 4 shots back on a Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Max looked really, really comfortable until he doesn't look comfortable, which could be on the second, or in the first 5 holes today. So I could see that gap closing super quick. It's a great question. And for the record, you know me, I'm going to weasel out of the Tour Championship sort of Scottie thing by probably taking much shorter numbers on the guys I just liked and take the without Scottie Scheffler market. I don't want to deal with the guy. I don't want to deal with him.
Done with him.
I've been done with him.
I'm sick of it.
Jason, any closing thoughts on Eastlake before we circle back to round 4 of the BMW Championship?
No, the only thing I'll point out, not in the betting markets, but this is apparently a bridge year. Everybody keeps referring to it as. So
Bridgeman year.
There's going to be something different next year. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be match play or like the U.S. Amateur stroke play into match play, or maybe it's going to be a true playoff where you have to play the first week if you want to get into the next one and the one after that. I don't know what the answer is. Rory McIlroy the other day summed up what I've been saying for the last 20 years, which is you've got a lot of people to look out for. It's not just, hey, let's make it entertaining for the fans. Yeah. It's not just the sponsors, the rights holders. They've never figured out what the FedEx Cup is supposed to be. It's never been defined. Is it supposed to be the season-long champion who's been the best on the PGA Tour? Is it supposed to be who wins the sprint during the postseason, like other professional sports where, hey, you get hot at the right time and you can win the whole prize? Is it a combination of the two? Until it gets more clearly defined, they're always going to struggle with what it's supposed to be and how they're supposed to reward it. And I don't see a great long-term solution, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Patrick, any thoughts on what it's going to be? Because sometimes you have special insight there, or for that matter, the editorial part of this, what it should be.
So Josh Carpenter of SBJ, aka the Ice Cream Man, because he has all the scoops. He said the players were against match play. Like it was proposed to them, and they were like, "We don't want to do this." So I really have no idea, but I will say it's a good time for Brian Rolapp to come into the fold, and this has to be pretty high on his priority list, I would say, just because, like Jason said, no one really knows what the FedEx Cup playoffs is, and next year is going to be 2 decades of this thing now, 20 years of the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it really hasn't made a splash at all. So I have faith in the guy, right? I feel like that's not usual for the mean and green media to have faith in leadership, but he seems to know his stuff, so I'm interested to see what he does. I have no idea what it's going to be, though.
Do you think we're missing the boat a little bit on, and I see there's some like CBS, NBC convo in here in terms of who has the playoffs and the storylines. I do feel like we're missing the boat a little bit, not we CBS, but in general on the storylines in terms of making the top 50 and the top 30. I think that is theater that we're not really presenting in terms of what the implications are. Jason, any thoughts?
I actually disagree. I actually think the broadcast played up too much. I get why they do it. There's a secondary storyline there. It's not just who's going to win, but quite frankly, last week was a great example. As a golf fan, I was very intrigued by, okay, Tommy's trying to win a golf tournament. Wait, here comes Justin Rose, JJ Spawn getting into the mix. Scottie's lingering. To me, that's the drama that I want to watch, and that's the benefit of the playoffs, that you get the best players on the PGA Tour playing against each other for 3 straight weeks. Quite frankly, guys getting into the top 50 after I get why it's big for them, but unless I'm a massive Ricky Fowler fan, I don't care that much. I just as a fan.
Yeah, but you don't care that much because the media is not leaning into it. You're saying, yeah, they're talking about it during the broadcast.
Into it.
No, you don't understand. I'm talking about like boxing matches, like when you lean into like special shows and special segments that predate the actual tournament itself, where you're leaning into like, hey, like you're walking around with a guy in his practice round or something, or when he's with his family, almost like a Netflix thing where you're like making the top 50, maybe not for Ricky Fowler or top 30 for somebody like Jacob Bridgman or something. I feel like those storylines, when you kind of like learn more about the player and you lean into the idea that this is going to be really big for him and his family. I'm not talking about during the broadcast. Yeah, of course it's mentioned, but Patrick, I'm looking for more theater. I'm looking for creating content.
You're creating something that's not there. It's just not there, Sia.
I think it's interesting. I genuinely do.
But it's not like this isn't guys playing for their careers. It's not guys playing for like, man, we're not going to be able to put food on the table for the kids if we don't make top 50 this year. These guys are going to be fine. And they're going to get, if they play well enough, they'll get into those signature events. They'll get into the major championships. It's just like, is it big for them personally? Sure, they want to accomplish that goal. But for me as a fan, I really care about what the leaderboard looks like and who's going to win the golf tournament over who might play the next week.
Cool. Think you guys covered it.
I don't know. I think it's big for the non-big name players, top 70, top 50. I think it's really compelling. It could be really compelling theater there.
My gripe with the postseason is the intriguing aspect of it is the bottom half of the field when it should be the opposite, in my opinion, right? I think they should do the cutoffs and into signature events. Like, you know what lacks a little bit of juice? Kind of the end of the regular season with the 3M Open and the Wyndham Championship. Like, have that, like, have the top 70, those who get into the playoffs, just have those guys in the signature events or something like that. And then focus on the top end guys in the playoffs like every other sports league does.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be an interesting offseason. Patrick and Jason, I know you'll be on top of the news there. So really looking forward to the Tour Championship, but everything that kind of all the dominoes that fall after it. And of course, the fall swing, where we'll be covering some of that stuff too, folks, by the way. All right. We got to circle back. We're going to circle back to the BMW. That's going to end our very, very quick look at East Lake, some of the players we like. I kind of put out my card. We'll see if that's actually my card, but I did like a lot of the players that Patrick and Jason mentioned. So we're going to talk about that more on Monday on the DFS show, Tuesday on the Best Bets show, and of course during the live chat at 4:00 on this SportsLine YouTube channel.